modern medicine predominantly understands the human as an anatomical, clinical, physical understanding of what the body is. It follows a reductionist system, which typically most science in the Western traditionally, classically have followed. So thereby, there's body is broken down into body systems, which is broken down into organs, broken down into tissues, it's broken down into cells are further broken down into the sub parts of the cell, the parts that make the cell, and everything is studied individually. And which is why this entire setup of very targeted pathways. So if I've understood how the cell is behaving in a certain way, I'll develop a single target molecule which is going to come and affect it, and I'm going to study it and make a drug out of it. It's a reductionist way of understanding the body. Even brain and thoughts are understood as electrical impulses, electrical connections, neurosynaptic connections, and things of that sort. Certain things like psychosomatic disorders, certain hormonal changes, autoimmune disorders are still not completely understood because they may not have an entirely physical basis or a physical form in which it gets represented. Whereas Ayurveda um, understands the human, and I'll come to that a little later, that why Ayurveda is able to create a more wholesome understanding of the human body or the human individual, is because it does not only take into account the physical form. That's just sharir. That's just sharir. Then there are indriya. There's a bahya indriya that you're able to see, so your eyes, your skin, your tongue, and then there are antrik indriyas. So for each one of these indriyas, there is an internal indriya which is unseen. Because if I close my eyes, I can still visualize, right? If I still my favorite song and I start playing in my head, I can actually hear the music in my head, can't I? So there is a bahya indriya and then there is an antrik indriya. There is an internal indriya as well. Then there is, that's the sthul sharir, the grosser form of the human body. Then there is the more sukshma sharir, which comprises of the ahamkara, the manas, the chitta, and eventually consciousness, the soul. Thereby, the concept of an individual is not just the physical body, the physical form, but understand it as body complex. So this whole thing put together, the body complex, is understood as what in Ayurveda is called a chikitsa purusha, the individual, the chikitsa purusha.